No, it can't. It can't get worse. It can't. There's no way. There's no way. It can't get worse.
Serenity now! Serenity now!
What is that?
Doctor gave me a relaxation cassette. When my blood pressure gets too high, the man on the tape tells me to say, Serenity now!
Are you supposed to yell it?
The man on the tape wasn't specific.
What's up, guys? I am Cowboy Cayman, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for stopping by. First off, unfortunately, we have to start with heavy hearts today, as the main one, the homie, Frank Costanza, has unfortunately passed away. That being said, thanks for the memories, Jerry. You will be missed. At least the NASDAQ is up 1% today, as big tech leads the way and leads the charge to some hopeful growth before the inevitable downturn. It's probably going to happen within the next few months, at least according to several major news organizations. And also, I can't help but agree with them. There are so many signs in the market pointing towards this being incredibly overinflated, and there just being so much room for downturn here in the next few months, as just this unknown entity continues to just ransack our economy. Elon Musk, the real-world equivalent to Tony Stark, is now taking on the entirety of California as he threatens to press lawsuits for their handling of the coronavirus and the shutdowns that have impacted him in such a colossal way. The billionaire playboy philanthropist visited the Joe Rogan podcast again recently and has made some famous headlines, and not necessarily for the reason you might think. Oh, you hippie Elon. He actually dropped an incredible line that I feel like probably went over more people's heads than it should, of there's fools that think that you can have stuff without making stuff. This raises an incredible point that dives really deep into what some view as the morality behind the lockdown orders. If businesses aren't out there making things, what are they developing? He does raise a very fair point that is worth looking into, of how this will impact us way beyond this quarter. We are likely to see the impact of this virus for several months, if not years to come. Years is much more likely than months, as unfortunate as that is. Until we get to the same footing that we were on at the end of February and the beginning of March, the impact of this is not going to be over with. So while his specialty obviously is in creating cars and flamethrowers, I actually think that he is grounded here very much so in his response, as GDP will suffer very heavily for these lockdowns. And if we want to prevent, say, a second depression from coming on, we're going to have to get back out into the working force and start developing products again, because if we're not, this will only keep digging us further. What else do we have today? This is fun for any of you that hopped on the oil train, as, you know, a lot of us were probably right to do so, as it hit all-time lows, a few weeks ago? Oil falls on fears a second virus wave could pummel demand again. That's the chipper pick-me-up I needed today. I'm a believer in one thing, that tech is always the first thing that comes out of any negative market activity, such as the 2008 financial crisis, the dot-com bubble. Weirdly enough, it is always technology that tends to pull us out of the worst economic ruts that we enter. Now, if they are leading the charge for this entire rally, while other parts of the market are starting to falter and starting to really hit a decline, you know, those can't keep averaging out for long-term growth. That's not how that works. You can't have an absolute dominant sector of the market continue to prevail year after year after year, while other parts are just dying in a corner. That's just not how this works. The unfortunate likelihood is that if technology starts to falter at all, we are just gonna start to come right back down. So now that I've good and scared you, how do we recover from this? How do you make the most of this potential downturn in the market? And, you know, how to invest for the coming trends that have really started to pop up here recently. Whether that be the technology sector really just, you know, pulling us through as always, or maybe it's oil and people realizing, is it the time to get out forever? Probably not. That might be a little bit of an overreaction, but it is smart to think about how these different sectors not only impact your portfolio, but impact each other. If we have consistent growth coming very strongly from one segment of the economy, every other part is dying in a hole somewhere, that's not going to lead to profit long term. So adapting to this is a must for any investor. So if we're trying to think about that and pick some stocks and maybe bonds, ETFs that would help us best combat a potential downturn in the market soon, what are we going to look for? Could say maybe airlines and the cruise ship industries, as they have probably hit what could be an all-time low. Hoping that statement does not age very poorly. But with them losing, upwards of over 60-70% of their overall stock value in a matter of weeks, is it too much to assume that they have hit a bottom? It would really probably be a great time to invest in the airlines and the cruise ships that you know for certain will come back after this. It would be naive of me to not mention the fact that this could be one of the riskiest investments you could get into post-quarantine. Not to say that it doesn't have potentially the best payoff, but it is important to keep in mind that this is risky. This is unprecedented territory for a lot of these firms. They haven't gone months without revenue. No company can sustain any sort of business with months and months on end without revenue. While several companies have made rather large layoffs and changed the general structure of their company to help give a much more sustainable liquidity stance, good on them. But there are some that haven't. There are some that are sitting in, frankly, just not good scenarios for any sort of long-term investor. I'm rambling a bit. So beside the cruise ship and airline industries, what else can you get into? Fair warning, this could be one of the spiciest takes that Cowboy Cayman has made up to this date. But I really think that Moderna has some strong potential for growth, being the fact that they are one of the front runners in terms of the vaccine. While post-vaccine, I don't see as much promising areas for Moderna as others might. While we're still searching for a cure, market sentiment and its impact on the market is at its probably all-time highest levels. This could be a great time to hop on the just pharmaceutical industry train. You got to think about it from the standpoint of what company is making money at any given point. Because during the worst of times, there still will be a company that is making money. And lastly, on the topic of what stocks are going to kill it in terms of their return for the next few months, I really think that either buying fractional shares or just whole shares, for those of you that are fortunate enough to be able to do so, of Amazon is a great call right now. They've displayed their dominance in the marketplace year over year for the last decade, starting from a Kindle, reading books on that, to shipping literally everything in the world. Everything you interact with has probably gone through Amazon at some point. They are one of the largest companies in the world. There's a reason Jeff Bezos is the wealthiest man with levels of richness that others can only fathom. They are a great, great company, and they are poised for sustainable growth for the next, 5-10 years. They have a great business model that has truly set them up for some of the most success that you can have post-quarantine, during quarantine, just frankly at any point. Amazon's a fantastic company, and they have some strong room for growth, being the fact that they are still a little underpriced due to the whole coronavirus branding. These three stocks/sectors are my takes for what I think has the strongest room for growth in the next few months and how to best capitalize on such a turbulent and unknown time. So again, at the end of the day, nobody can predict the market moves with 100% certainty, and at the end of the day, this is just my speculation after my own research and time delving into the facts and the statistics that the market has put before us. While I am pretty confident that they are great investments, and I do put my money where my mouth is, and I am invested in all of these, I am looking for some really heavy growth in the next few months. Not anything in the near term, as I understand that there are probably still some losses to come. But given time and given patience, these investments can really pay off for you in the long run. We're not looking for short-term gain here. We're looking for long-term prosperity. I think that's actually going to wrap us up today, guys. I want to keep it short and sweet with a little market update just to keep in mind while trading over the next few weeks to maybe expect some volatility, some turbulence. Hopefully it's smooth sailing ahead. Okay, I'll stop with the puns. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel, guys. I am Cowboy Cayman. Here's to the next one.